we are just beginning with the institutional claim list, where all submitted facility claims are centrally visible. So to give you brief, Nurex AI is directly integrated with payers and clearing houses, allowing it to ingest 837 EDI files near real time. So each claim comes to the Nurex AI platform. It can be viewed at an individual level, seeing all the full service line details, charges, procedure, revenue codes, and patient contacts, of course. And in parallel, Nurex AI also ingests the 835 remittances and EOB files. Sometime back, Zach mentioned about that that capability of Nurex AI to go through all the adjustment codes and enables that to automatically reconcile uh, what was billed versus what was paid, adjusted or denied without any manual intervention. And from this is the intake step that Shai has presented you some time back. And then from there, we go to the next step, which is triaging of those denials or those remittances that we received. So from this point, the denial autonomy suite takes over from Nurex AI. Let me take you to the denial management dashboard. So if I click on this denial management dashboard, you can see this is Nurex AI analyzes the remittance data using pair reason codes, then adjustment codes, CARC and RARC mappings to identify denied or underpaid services. Each denial is intelligently classified, determining whether it is appealable or eligible for resubmission. So you can see there is a button for appeal list or resubmission list. And if you see here the details of each denial, it talks about what are the adjustment codes are there, and based on that, it decides on whether to write off or whether to appeal. And if you see here that particular this is need to be resubmitted. So all depends on the payer policy, contract rules, and historical outcomes. Those are taken into account by Nurex AI by doing this triaging and classification. So this targeted policy-aware approach reduces the wastage of effort, accelerates resolution, and drives measurable improvement in the net collection. Now I will just first show you the appeal list here, and then we'll go to resubmission list. So when I click on the appeal list, you can see a screen which shows the complete list of the appeals where all appealable denials are actively managed and tracked. At the top, you can see the summary of total appeals and appeal value and their current status, like ready or under review or review completed, not appealable, or even sometimes it can be marked as incomplete because the documentation is more documentation is required, or some more clarification is required from clinical team. So the analyst can mark it as incomplete. Uh, each row represents the individual appeal linked directly to the original claim, and patient, payer, then date of service, payment date, the priority of that appeal, and type, means whether it is a clinical appeal or technical appeal, and if it is inpatient or outpatient, that details also can be seen. And this is a very something called as a very crucial part in the Nurex AI, which is a reviewer. So manual reviewers can review those appeals which are generated by Nurex AI, and they gives the feedback, which is used for our continuous learning feedback loop. This is what called Flow Lab. And this is structures and status driven view ensures appeal are processed on time, prioritized correctly, and consistently converted into recovered revenue. Just go drill down to a individual appeal. If you can see this small icon, if I click on that, it opens up a new tab, and this is appeal screen. This screen shows the complete appeal workspace for a individual's denied claim. At the top, you can see the appeal ID, then technical or outpatient, and then the patient details, The claim number, many times our reviewer want to track this, the claim number from the particular, if that EHR is not integrated, then they can go to that particular EHR and see the details or something. But also who is the currently reviewer, any additional information that is required, and history of that appeal. Then Nurex AI automatically summarizes this denial summary, what exactly has happened, why, what is the denied amount. So it's just a summary of it, plus EOB details, explanation of benefits. So all details are available which were received in the remittance, and also the claim details, what are the service lines and how much has been charged for each line. So all these details are available at the same place. So reviewer don't need to go anywhere else for additional information. Every information is available here.
See the indication of technical versus clinical, the inpatient versus outpatient. It's all very customizable. So, for Helix's purposes, we have multiple different clients that are in this system in the background. We pick up different regional payer behavior in certain places relative to CAS code utilization. One organization or one payer may be using an authorization denial on your inpatient to tell you that it's a level of care denial, that they're not approving it as an inpatient. And so with your CAS code mapping, some of the machine learning of the LLM in the background, or even looking at your historical appeals, the Nurex team has the ability to extrapolate from those and match to your current workflows how you want to address each of those components. So for us, we break appeals into effectively 3 different buckets, being technical denials, clinical denials, and coding denials, based upon the people that we want to be the kind of the initial reviewers on them and handle the routing. But all of that can be customized and extrapolated from what you're seeing with your specific payer mix and how you like to kind of manage that workflow collectively. I don't know if your internal team, if you have like an initial review team who does pre-vetting before clinical appeals nurses are getting to things, or if the clinical appeals nurses are just kind of jumping right into certain sets of CAS codes. But all of that can be customized, and the workflow can be very much customized based upon your individual needs, and utilizing those denial types and to push those reviews and the workflow views to different respective teams based upon whatever you need. But there are some advanced kind of filtering capabilities off of everything that's laid out in this grid view. So if you want nurses to go in and have the first crack at something based upon certain CAS code sets or certain criteria, I've also been in the situation with prior denials teams where I wanted different splits between inpatient and outpatient based upon who needs to review it and what those individual needs are. But the workflow is very customizable to match the way your teams are set up to kind of handle that management collectively.
This is a Nurex AI generated appeal, which is everyone but is interested to look at. So I'll just open it. So it is a very structured line by line appeal, and it gives groups by every revenue code group wise, and is mapped to medical necessity, supporting clinical evidences, payer policy justification, like denial challenge, policy justification, the medical evidences, without any manual research is required. So everything is ready for the reviewers to go through what exactly be the argument for this appeal. And the reviewer can validate, edit if needed, and submit the appeal directly, reducing the appeal preparation time from hours to minutes, while improving the consistency and recovery rate. So this is very helpful, and you can see that this is the AI generated one and this is the final one. So if you make any changes, those are recorded. The AI generated one is kept for the references, and whatever the changes that reviewer are making are again recorded by Nurex AI. It is used for the learning to make their next appeal generated more better and more aligned with your hospital policy. And At the same time, the reviewers can rate the system with its comments. If they rate lower stars and give some constructive feedback, that is also taken into account.
The revenue code drop down off to the right.
Just to check. Yeah, this is what you are talking about, right, Zach? Yeah, this is what Zach was talking about, that revenue codes you can select or unselect, because all revenue codes you may not want to apply for.
So because the system is built to kind of consider every line item that has a denial on it, this is a human in the loop system with the expectation that you have reviewers who know kind of the structure of where the core of the denial is on the background. The denials are weighted hierarchically to kind of categorize the highest weighted denial. But if there are additional line items on things, you can run into medical necessity denials on multiple line items that need to be appealed. The core of the system, that the AI generated letter, is going to produce basically an appeal rationale relative to every line item that has a denial on it. But off to the right there, and
just to check. Yeah, this is what you are talking about, right, Zach? Yeah, this is what Zach was talking about, that revenue codes you can select or unselect, because all revenue codes you may not want to apply for.
But there is a drop down there where you're able to select kind of the specific line items that have denials on them to kind of button up the core of the rationale. But it is evaluating to make the argument against the denial. It's looking at the payer policies in the background, the LCDs and the NCDs specific to that individual line item and the individual denial that comes across it, to try to put together a draft in the letter. But as you unselect some of those things, so like you see, I believe this one had a 250 revenue code on it. It's not probably a real denial where you're going to go chase a generic drug for a line item reimbursement. So incorporating some of the individual expertise into that to remove the components that are probably not real denials that you're actually trying to get overturned. It is pretty seamless to get the initial draft of the appeal to just show the line items that are the core of what you're fighting against. Into the final version of the appeal there, the Nurex AI generated version kind of starts with the draft of what you're looking at, but the final window your reviewers are able to work out of and modify. And so the system is going to take and compare what the AI generated version of the appeal was against what the final version that ultimately gets submitted to the payer. It's looking for basically the discrepancies between the two, what was modified, so that it can inform the way it's approaching those denials and strengthen some of the arguments. And as you build up a larger sample of those appeals, and they also track the outcomes of those appeals, it's going to disproportionately kind of weight the findings relative to the appeals that were successful in getting overturned versus the ones that were less successful in consideration of how it drafts future versions of the appeal.
Ask Nurex. Ask Nurex is a core intelligence layer and backbone of the Nurex AI platform. It continuously ingests the clinical data, the payer policy, contracts, EOBs, and all relevant contextual information, and connects them using our clinical context graph patent pending technology running in the background 24/7. And this is a interface which is given for our reviewers, which acts as a true co-pilot, allowing users to ask questions and receive context-aware guidance and recommendation, just like they are working with a highly experienced analyst alongside with them. So when I click on this Ask Nurex, I can ask more questions. Let me put one question here. The question that I am asking is, please give me a short encounter summary to describe what has happened. It creates a very concise and short and very precise summary, saying that the patient is 55-year-old male and having the chief complaint and whatever the diagnosis and during the hospitalization, whatever has happened, it is summarized there, and even all the critical dates like discharge date and what care has been offered to that patient. So everything is defined here. So this is something that reviewer also like to have it and uh, ask more questions on it. But this is not just summarizing, able to do the summarization of the things, but the reviewer can ask very particular specific questions and they can get the answers to it. So maybe I will just type in another question saying that for a revenue code 0250 and denial reason code N661, do we have any documentation evidences? And when I ask that, it try to get all the details not only from the medical records but also the lab reports or any document that are available from the records, and it gives you the whole thing, like it talks about what are the details of that denial, then supporting documentation like medication that have been administered, which it can pull out from the record, the clinical findings from the clinical notes, the treatment plan or discharge summary from the discharge note, and give you a small appeal argument also, that why we can put what we can put as an argument so that this denial can be overturned. So these are kind of very helpful uh, feature that viewers get alongside while they are working on this appeal. They can see the justification, they can ask more evidences, and even for example, if it is it provides the citation from where it has picked up the information and it goes to the particular page directly. Now just you can imagine that uh, in a live environment and real document which goes into hundreds of pages, if someone gives you the particular page from where it has picked up the things and which has the relevant information, that you can then choose here, like organize page, you can say that for this page and this page I just want to yeah, I just want to select these two pages and save it as and put it in the my denial appeal packet. So that is also possible. So very handy workflow and handy tool that is provided to these manual reviewers. More and more documents and more data is available for the Nurex AI. It can best use of it and give more precise output because it gets all that information. It has a capacity to put it in the context and make sure that all things, these arguments are built based on available information. So for example, I will just open this particular appeal generation where we have some payer policy also attached here for this. And if I go to the Ask Nurex AI here, I can ask the question like, based on the claim data and policy data, please check if appeal window is available, and it identifies it. And this the way Nurex AI currently he is able to identify and answer this, the same thing is available in while Nurex AI triaging all those denials, and it automatically determines if that window has been lapsed or not. So conclusion is that appeal window for the claim appears to be expired based on the timeline provided by the policy. So it extracts what is the policy timeline window for this, and checks based, and appeal may subject to auto closure due to late submission. So it gives all justification and take the decisions and make sure that it is triaging well all the denials, and it will not waste your time for things which are the money which is not recoverable. So after this, I will again go to the one step back and go back to this resubmission list. So every denial is not a appeal. So it may be happen that that denial can be addressed by resubmitting the claim. So Nurex identifies that and mark it as a resubmission list. It creates the resubmission guidelines. It gives you the list of the denials which you can resubmit. And if you click on this view summary of denial and next steps, it provides the all details it such as it talks about the fixable issues such as missing information, coding mismatches, or documentation gaps. It drills down to a particular specific UB04 fields also, and tells you about what need to be done. So this whole guideline can be handed over to the coder again, who are doing the resubmission job. So that is becomes very handy. At the same time, if we are integrated with any practice management tool, then that also can be integrated by Nurex, and that thing can be also automated. So that is on the resubmission list.
There are statuses that we've configured in our particular instance that are probably of interest to. So in the first place, like with a level of care denial, from generally, if we can make a clinical argument, we're going to try to make a clinical argument and get it overturned, get it approved as an inpatient stay. But we've built out in our instance, and it's something that would be available relative to your instance if it's how you wanted to manage this. Like if we lose on that appeal, we will use the secondary clinical denial coming in and push it to a downgrade to observation status or something along those lines. And those statuses can be used through the work efforts as well to push things to the resubmission list beyond just what the AI is flagging as an opportunity to resubmit the account as opposed to needing to appeal it.
Again, going back to this revenue integrity dashboard, where this analytics shows clearly on the right of analysis, like which are patient. Nurex decides whether it is a patient responsibility or the small balance, which we talked some time back, that those are not worth to go for the appeal, and less than $50 or something based on your organizational policy. Nurex can identify these are the small balances denials which we should not chase. And then there are like provider issues and other payers, coordination of benefit kind of things, which we put it as a write-off. But this is not the end of it, because this becomes our input through our flow lab for CDI things. So if it is a coordination of benefits, or if it is provider issues, then those things are flagged for the in the denial prevention workflow for new claims that has been generated and new documentation that has been created for submitting the claim. As you can see, it is like, for CARC codes also. So we are managing the reason codes and adjustment codes. Based on that, the write-offs are detected. And also the payer tendency, based on the payer tendency, because we have the capacity to ingest all the 835s for your organization, and we have the previous history of which payer has the combination of the revenue code and procedure codes, and whether it has been denied, or if it has been always denied, or it has been paid. So those payer tendency thing is also taken care of.
So I think
the payer payment tendency, where It talks about which payer has paid once or never paid, or so it shows what is happening here. So all those rules are identified by Nurex while through LLM, and you can have a control on overrule it so that it will not take into account of that. So manual override is always possible. Here, basically, I asked the question that does this current documentation support the severe sepsis? So it talks about all the evidences that it could gather from the lab reports or any notes. But it says that the documentation support the diagnosis of severe sepsis as the patient has confirmed infection. These findings with the but these findings align with the clinical definition of severe sepsis. It is important to correlate this information with clinical judgment. So it found out all the evidences, but there was no clear mention from the physician or the attending physician saying that this are documented explicitly for that. So adding additional diagnostic, so it is asking for the clinical judgment. So what I do is that I will just ask one more question here to ask Nurex, saying that can you please prepare a query which can be shared to the physician to confirm this clinical judgment? And it prepares me the whole query. It picks up who is the attending physician, and then create an query that this clinical management of John Miller is 72-year-old male, and gives all the details that it has found, and ask for that please review and confirm if the clinical judgment and management plan align with the patient's current condition. And so this query can be raised, and we have this workflow for CDI where those queries can be created, sent to the physicians, and get this back confirmation from them, so that coder can add those MCC or CC's DRGs to that in concurrent CDI. Yeah, this is highly customizable. We have means we have the templates also that we can provide it to our Nurex AI, so it can follow those templates. Clinical document, or I will just go as a login as an admin. One moment. And here is general documents. So you can see here, different documents are like, you can provide the guidelines, the policy, templates, all are available and can be uploaded for the Nurex so that it can take cognizance of that.